Hello, spiritual champions, and welcome back to Talking Spirit Leaves podcast. And of course, I am your holy host, Ashalayan Snow, and I'd like to welcome back all of my spiritual prayer warriors and my warriors at prayer. So first of all, I want to thank you all for the donations. I don't know who made it, but thank y'all. Anyhow, well, I have your email addresses, but I don't have the handles that you all use here. So I just want to thank everybody. Just thank you for being here. Okay. So today we are going to answer a question from my email. Okay. Now, everything that I discuss on this channel is coming from my own personal university training experience and my own personal culture, because that is the only way one could respond to questions. You're responding to your own life experiences. So we all do not have the same life experiences. We all did not or do not come from the same culture, background, etc., etc. Okay, so please keep that in mind. So I'm gonna answer a question that was sent to me. Stephen. Now, well, I won't know if there's a Stephen in here, but okay. It says, can you explain the differences in magic and spirituality? That's one part. And what separates the two? That's part 2. And 3, which is more powerful? Okay, so that's a 3-part question. Some of these questions that I get, I don't even respond to them. Well, for 2 reasons. I don't respond to them for 2 reasons. 1, there's no donation attached to them, and 2, they're just utterly ridiculous. I mean, it's just utterly ridiculous. I mean, I don't see how people have the time to waste. I just don't have that kind of time. My time is valuable, okay, as is yours. And I know you wouldn't want to waste your time on something that is not going to benefit you. I'm like that too. I'm not going to waste my time on something that's not going to benefit me in some way, shape, or form. Okay, whether it be intrinsically or extrinsically. There has got to be something that I could use. Okay? Sending stupid emails. I mean, I'm going to say stupid to emphasize the ignorance. Okay, so without further ado, I know people get on my nerves with that nonsense. It's unprofessional, really. Okay, I'm not perfect, and I don't seek to be, because why? I don't have to be to be chosen. Okay, and neither do you. So to me, spirituality is the attempt to seek interconnectedness to nature, the world. It is a process where one understands that there is more to life than what you can see, hear, taste, more than the senses. Most spiritual people understand that there is more going on here than what meets the eye. They understand that the flesh is just a vehicle, and that it's just more going on, and they just can't, they can't quite put their hands on it, but they seek to ask those deeper questions about life, creation. Well, who did this? And well, who did that? Who put the stars in the sky? Well, why are so many people different? Why are there Why are there good people? Why are there evil people? Spiritual people seek to answer those questions. Okay? They seek to connect to something higher than themselves. Okay? The operative word here is higher than themselves, not anything lower. Okay? Why would you want to connect to something lower than you? Okay? Spirituality dictates that anything evil was kicked out of high places. And I'm going to leave out the fact that I'm a Christ follower. But spirituality dictates that on its own. That anything lower was kicked out of high places. So why would you connect yourself to anything that's lower than you are? Okay? To most spiritualists, the logos is the universe. Okay? That's to most spiritualists. Those that know what's going on. Yes. I could say that. Okay? The universe is the creative force that created the stars and the planet. When the planet and the stars and the moons collapse. When I raise my trigger finger. Y'all know the rest. But spiritualists seek to find out what those things are, what those luminaries represent, why are they there, and who put them there. Okay? Because they certainly didn't put themselves there. Okay? All right? They seek to find meaning and interconnectedness. Usually it is a connection to nature. Nature, that's a broad spectrum. Nature, air, water, the animals, the earth, the natural self. Spiritualists seek those beautiful things. They seek it both in peace and in gratitude. Okay? Anytime you run across someone using any type of spirituality, and they're not doing it in peace and in gratitude, then that's really not spirituality. And we'll get to that later on, because to be quite honest with you, spirituality is a doorway. It is a doorway to one's nature. Okay? Now, once you open that doorway to spirituality, it's going to dictate if you are blessing or if you are cursing. Okay? Now, I don't know if you all realize this or not, but to be ignorant is a curse. To be in lack of knowledge is a curse. Okay? So, you're speaking and using spiritual means, processes, whether it be meditating, yoga, prayer, whatever it is that you may be using, and you are using it in ignorance, inside of ignorance, that is a curse. Okay? Because all spiritualists know that you must establish a foundational base. See, you cannot just jump up one morning and say, oh, I'm gonna be a spiritualist. Spiritualists do this, spiritualists do that, and we're gonna do this and do that. No, because you're going through a door unprepared for what is going to approach you or what you may run into. You have to remember that I should have said this at the top of the conversation, that spirituality is you are dealing with invisible worlds, invisible souls, spirits, peoples, entities, whatever. You can't see them with your physical eye. So if you have not built a firm foundational base on whom you are, what spirituality is, then and you go into spirituality because, oh, your friend said if you do this, you'll get 3/4, or, then you're unprepared on so many levels that I don't want to go into on this video. You are so unprepared. Now, like I said, I can only speak from my culture and my life experiences and my university training, okay? So, ever since I was a child, we were taught the fundamental rules of spirituality. We were taught that. Not only were we taught it, we were shown, okay? Do unto others if you have them, do unto you. I'm gonna speak in these old cliches because they're quicker than me explaining, well, that happened and this happened now. Okay, we were always taught do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If someone treats you disrespectfully, depending on what's going on, okay? If you can turn your back and walk away, then give God thanks that you were able to turn your back and walk away and not have an altercation. Okay, that's how we were taught. All right? Now those are some of the foundations that you should. I'm not saying that all this is going to happen in one day, because to have a solid base or a solid, firm foundation, it takes years. It takes years to build up yourself so that, well, not self, because self is flesh. It takes years to prepare your soul or your spirit, your mind, your intellect to identify uncleanliness when it approaches you. If you're still in an infant stage of spirituality, you're innocent and you're not going to be able to recognize some of the things that you should be able to recognize when you are using spirituality. Okay? Most spiritualists have built a firm foundation in who they are. That's why they cannot be moved one way or another. One way or another. You know, you have people out there thinking that they are earth angels, and they are not. Because all spiritualists know that it's a few things that earth angels do not do. And they're sitting there doing it and saying, we. That do not have a spiritual bone in their body. Just because you can get with a group and perform rituals, which we'll explain that in a minute, that doesn't make you an earth angel. That's called being used. And that is it, and that is all, and it is finished. So, spirituality seeks to, one, connect to a higher power, usually a power that's higher than themselves. Because if you have gone through the spiritual, well, let me back up. If you have built a firm foundation, and when you go through that spiritual door, hands down, you're automatically gonna know what is what. There's not gonna be any, well, maybe, or nah, I don't know. It's not gonna be any of that. If you have built a firm, solid spiritual foundation, and once you start going through those spiritual doors, you're automatically gonna know what's what. Now, what you choose to do, well, that's on you. You get to choose blessings, or you get to choose cursing. All right, that's on you. Now, I don't know if I said it before, but spirituality is the doorway to one's nature. Okay? Now, if you have built a solid foundation, then you'll probably be all right until it's time for you to make a choice. No, let me rewind that back, because if you haven't built a solid foundation, because in spirituality, when you build a solid foundation, you're building on truth. Okay? It's inexplicable and it's unavoidable, and it's just right there in your face truth. Okay? Now, if you have not done that and you go through spirituality, then you will get knocked over. Okay? You will not have that foundation. You will not have that understanding. You will be speaking and working out of total ignorance. Okay? Depending on what you chose, of course. I don't know you, so I can't say what you chose was good or bad, but clearly, you know if you're good or if you're bad or not. Okay? Now, a lot of spiritualists, well, I'm going to read your comments in the chat, and I'll try to answer some of them, but I don't want to get sidetracked, because I will not be able to answer the question. Okay? All right. So, a lot of spiritualists utilize prayer, good or bad. Y'all have heard me speak about white light processes, prayer warriors, etc., etc. But what you don't understand is that to pray is a spiritual act. Okay? To pray is spiritual. Okay? Good or bad. No matter who you're praying to, it's a spiritual act. And no matter how you're doing it, it's a spiritual act. Okay? But spiritualists are normally working out of peace, harmony, and gratitude. Okay? That's a real spiritualist. Okay? So, people who are calling themselves spiritualists and are doing other things and thinking they're fooling people and carrying on, that's something else. That's not spirituality. Okay? Now, usually when you find a true spiritualist, you're gonna also find them probably in the arts, good or bad, doesn't matter, good or bad. They're gonna like to express themselves with drawing, playing in the dirt with flowers and things of that nature. Okay? They, good or bad, it can be music, good or bad, be sewing, cooking. Most spiritual people are that way, and also non-spiritual people too. That is why you have to know the signs. You need to know that if they are not coming and peace, harmony, and gratitude, then that's something else. Okay? That is correct. That is something else. They do seek to connect to a higher power. I did say that. Right. They do that too. They also like to transcend. Spiritual people know that they could change. Either in life, they know that death is transcendence. It's not the end. It's just another doorway. So they believe in transcendence. Okay? I know I do. So, I already spoke about the arts. I said that. They do like to do artwork and stuff, no matter what it is. If it's working with iron or solder, they like that. Clay, they like that. I know I like to draw sometimes. So, I love prayer. That's why you hear the pun on here about prayer warriors. I do. I enjoy nature too. I like being out in nature. You know, that's, I love it. Let's just say that I love it. Okay? So, now part 2 of that question. We're talking about spirituality now. We'll get to the other one later. What separates the two? Well, what separates spirituality from magic is that spirituality uses natural processes. Natural processes. And when you're going about things the right way, it's not a quick fix. So spirituality, now please keep in mind, I'm going to reiterate that spirituality is a doorway. Okay? That's the doorway to good or evil, blessing or cursing. Okay? If a person is not coming in peace, harmony, and gratitude, then you know, well, that's something else. I don't call that spirituality. I call that being fake. Okay? Now, and what separates the two? Right, we were talking about what separates the two. What separates the two is one is permanent and the other, well, may not be so, depending on the spirit that you have partnered with. Okay? Now, if you partnered with in spirituality, if you partner with a spirit that runs the whole universe, if you partner with a spirit that created the universe and everything in it and all the worlds in between, even the planets and the moons and the stars, all that. Okay, well then, what they do on the magic end, that may not be permanent. It may not be a permanent thing. It is true from experience. It may not be a permanent thing, okay? That is why I keep saying, people keep thinking that I'm knocking astrology. I'm not knocking astrology. I'm just saying it depends on the spirit you have partnered with, okay? That's all I have been saying. It depends on the spirit you have partnered with will determine if your negative spiritual work, even good spiritual work, is permanent or no. If it's gonna work or not, okay? Because everybody has a boss. As above, so below. That's a spiritual term. And I'm going to use the old cliches because everybody know those. As above, so below. Everybody has a boss somewhere. Okay? No matter how they're acting, they have someone that they have to answer to. I only have one boss. Okay? I only have one. And that's the spirit I have partnered with. Okay? Other people in my life that carry the title of boss, well, they're the boss of that company that I work for. They're not the boss of me, because I will walk away, you know, because my boss, if my boss tell me to walk away, I will walk away. Okay? Just saying. Now, we were talking about which is more powerful, and I went off on a tangent. Okay. Now, I think that spirituality is more powerful because of its permanency. Okay, it is very profound and it is extremely irreversible. Okay, when you're dealing with other forms like magic, it's reversible depending on the spirit you have partnered with. Okay, people like living in the fake. I don't. I mean, if my head hurts, my head hurts, and I'm gonna tell you, my head is hurting. Leave me alone, okay? I don't want to be bothered. My head is hurting. You know what I'm saying? If I am in trouble financially, look, I'm in trouble financially. Do not talk to me unless you got some remedy. Okay, that's just me. I don't have the time to run around here pretending I have $20 and only have 2 cents. I don't even have time pretending that I have 2 cents and got nothing. And look, this is first of all, I am Sigma, I am Capricorn, and I don't play that. Okay? If you are not in my life to what do they say? Edify, uplift, then don't come in my life. Don't do that. I'm perfectly happy alone. Now let's see, which is more powerful and what separates the two. I already said that what separates the two, to me, in my experience, one is reversible, the other one is not. Depending on the spirit of which you have partnered with. Okay, which is more powerful? Well, I think I answered that when I answered what separates the two. I think the one that is gonna give you a permanent fix would be the one that is the most powerful. Okay, for example, I would not want to use spirituality to buy a yacht, okay? Only 2-3 years down the road, which you were struggling to make the payments when you bought it, okay? So, only 2 or 3 years down the road, the yacht people come and, pull your boat off your little thing and take it on with them because you can't afford it. You know what I'm saying? The IRS coming there and taking your stuff because you've done something bad, to get it. See, with spirituality, you're coming in truth, peace, harmony, and gratitude. And that is what gives you that solid base, that permanent foundation. And it takes a long time. It is not a quick fix. But if you're like me, I'll take permanency over temporary anytime, because who knows, 2 or 3 years down the road, you may have needed that yacht. Seriously. Now you got nothing because you played. You cut corners. Okay? So to me, the most powerful would be spirituality. So please keep in mind that there is going to be a split. Because once you enter, as I said, and I keep saying that spirituality is only a door. Spirituality is where your nature is going to be tested. Okay? That is where you will find your own nature. Is it the nature of blessing, or is it the nature of cursing? Are you in peace, or are you in chaos? Are you selfish, like to hurt people, don't care, lack empathy? Or are you in gratitude? And all other good things that come along with that. All those black sisters are vices. Okay? And when I say black sisters, you know, that's why I say to be ignorant is a curse. This is a spiritual channel. And when I say black sisters, I am not talking about race. Okay? All those black sisters, you are ignorance. And there is no solid foundation. And they are always constantly in a free fall. That is why they are always looking for people to grab a hold to. It's called codependency. They need someone beside them all the time. All the time. So, which is more powerful? Spirituality is. Okay? Now, let's talk about magic. Let's see. Now, let's see what my notes say on magic. Because I could speak all day about spirituality, but this thing called magic, I don't know what that is. Not really. Now, magic in itself can be broken into two parts. When we start speaking from the anthropological point of view, then I'm in my neighborhood, okay? But this other stuff is not my neighborhood, because anthropologically speaking, you're talking about one's culture, okay? Hedonism is a cultural thing. Kama Sutra is a cultural thing. Voodoo, well, what is that? What do they call them? They call them puppets, but voodoo dolls. Yes, voodoo dolls is a cultural thing. Okay? Now, indigenous people are usually spiritual. But remember, spirituality is just a doorway to test your nature, so you can find out who you are. Are you a blesser or are you a curser? That's all spirituality is. So now we're going to discuss magic. Now, magic can be illusions. You know, y'all seen the people in Las Vegas get on stage and do these fantastic tricks. That's what they call magic, okay? M-A-G-I-C, I believe that's what that is, okay? Now, there's another form that's spelled with a K, okay? Now, when you go through those spiritual doors, you either gonna come out a spiritualist or you're gonna come out a magician, okay? Now you catching on. So once you start walking through those spiritual doors, you're either gonna come out a spiritualist or you're gonna come out a magician, okay? Now, I've already told you my take on the differences between spirituality and being a magician. One can't be undone, the other one can, depending on which spirit you partner with. One depends on illusions. Okay. I'm getting ahead of myself. Hold on. Okay, which none of this is new because I've already said this on previous on previous channels and on previous videos. We're just streamlining it now. Okay, so we already talked about the illusions, being on stage and doing the magic tricks and stuff like that. Okay, that's one. That's fun. I could deal with that. Okay, get me some popcorn, ice cream. I can do that one. Okay. Now there's another type of magic that is a supernatural magic. Okay, and it's a force of evil. Okay. Now, spirituality. Remember, I said that spirituality was like a doorway. Okay. That in it, there's a split. I told you there was a split. This is the split here. Okay, when you walk through those doors, you're either gonna come out a spiritualist or you're gonna come out a magician. All right. Now, a magician is a person who tries Because remember, I'm going to say tries, because if you have not partnered with the right spirit, then this may work on you. Or it may work. I don't know, but here we go. Okay, so magic is somehow they use magic to influence reality. Okay, one way that they influence reality is with mentalism. I almost said materialism, but that's actually mentalism. Okay, so mentalism is really an illusion. Here's why: because using psychology tricks, okay, to stimulate telepathic ways to see what the person is thinking. It's a trick. Like, for example, let me think of it. Let's see. Using psychological tricks. Okay, so they would use psychological tricks to create telepathy and mind reading using word cues. That was a good one. So, for example, if someone said to me, do you like eating bananas? And I go, not really. You know, they are looking at that reaction you made, or your eyes, you know, or the tone of your voice. So if someone say, well, do you like eating okra? And I go, ooh, no, I don't like it. It's too slimy. I don't like it. See, that's how they are determining what your mind is saying, and determining what you may like and not like, just by using what they call words to stimulate telepathy and mind reading. Okay, that's how they do that. It is an illusion. It's not really, anybody can do it. To me, it's too much of a time. I mean, you like okra? Yes or no? All right, cool. I don't need to know why. I don't need to try to determine what you're gonna do next with the okra. I don't even care, okay? But these people, it's a lot of work. They have to do a lot. Stalking people, watching people, talking to people, friends, seeing what that person buying, seeing what, that's just too much. I just don't have time. I'm sorry, I'm busy with my spiritual work. Okay, outside, greeting the sun. I don't have time for all that. All right, so that's how they do using word magic. Let's say, for example, someone comes to you and say, in their mind though, they're saying, would you let me take from you if I was homeless, in a spiritual way? That's what's in their mind, but they're saying to you, oh, XYZ, if I was homeless, would you help me if I was homeless? And of course, if someone comes at you like that and you are a spiritualist, you're gonna respond with, well, yeah, I would help you if I could. Of course, no one wants to see people they know, relatives or friends, or people you thought were friends, out in the cold like that. Of course, you're gonna try and help them. But see, those are tricks. That's just what they are. They are tricks, and they are illusionary. Why is it an illusion? Because the person that says yes, didn't have a comprehensive understanding about why you were asking that question. See, now in the white light process book, I said to myself I wasn't going to bring it up, but I have to because it's there. In the white light process book, it says that Satan and his followers are more subtle than other unclean spirits that's running around here. Okay? See, that's what subtle means. That is subtle. He or she asks you, oh, if I didn't have money to pay my car note, would you help me out? And in her mind, she's actually saying, okay, so would you let me take from you spiritually so that I can get a new car and make payments off your energy? That's what's in their mind. That's what they're saying in their mind, but that's not how it came out of their mouths. So you're saying yes. So they run. Oh, she agreed to it. That's a contract. That's a contract. That is not a contract. Why it is not a contract? Because it wasn't made in truth. It wasn't made honestly. You didn't offer a comprehensive understanding to the person who said yes. Okay? But I keep reiterating, if you have not partnered with the right spirit, then that will work on you. Okay? It will work. Believe that. Speaking from experience, it will work on some people if you have not partnered with the right spirit. Now, I partnered with the correct spirit, and that is why whatever they did was undone. Boom. I speak in truth. Now, we have to say that I'm not going to put this under magic, but we're going to ease on into anthropology, because you can't speak about magic or spirituality without talking about anthropology, because it depends on one's culture. See, a lot of people like to follow other people's culture. And see, well, enough about that. So let's get on with it. So when you're using anthropology for magic or spirituality, then you're talking about one's culture, okay? People like to use what they call the Feng Shui. That's the Asian culture. Kama Sutra, that's another Asian culture. Why would me, being indigenous to the Americas, run over there and want to use someone else's cultural spirituality or cultural magic? And it doesn't belong to me. See, that culture knows the nuances, the pitfalls, which way to go, which way not to go, up or down, what to say, how to say it, when to say it. They're not going to tell you that. Okay? For one reason or another. Maybe it will take too long to explain it. Just do this and that'll happen, okay? I would never, ever tell anyone to walk off and leave their culture and run to someone else's culture. I wouldn't do that, because I would be wrong for that. Okay? Now, anthropology deals with one's culture and the esoteric part of it. Okay, remember, I keep taking you back that spirituality is just a doorway. All these little things we're talking about here is the doorway. Spirituality is the doorway. Once you open that door, all these things matter. Okay, all these things matter. People don't understand, but certain entities govern certain areas. Certain entities govern certain cultures. That is why in the past it has been so important to divide and conquer, or just flat out murder groups of people. Okay? Believe that. We ain't talking about that today, so we're going to get back over here to the esoteric part of anthropology. Now, when you start using rituals, you are using anthropology. You are using someone's culture. If it's not your own, you're using someone else's culture. For example, the differences between Santeria and Yoruba. First of all, there is no difference. Second of all, that whole process belongs to the Yoruba tribe out of Africa. Those people were brought to Cuba, brought over from Africa as slaves to Cuba, and they started practicing their religion over there. And over time, you know, the Indians on that plot of land started using it and calling it Santeria. See, you're using someone else's culture, but see, you done whitewashed it, and well, in that case, it wouldn't be whitewashing; it would be brownwashing, and putting your stamp on it. And it happens all the time. Most of the time, it's whitewashed, and then they put their stamp on it, and this and that and the third. But you know, Santeria is a Yoruban religion. Okay, anthropology. So nowadays you see people who were colonized by European Spain, and they speak English. I mean, not English. They speak Spanish, and they're using Santeria, and this, oh, that's their culture. No, that is not their culture. That Santeria is a Yoruban religion. Okay, little tidbits for examples for what we're talking about here. So now, when you're using rituals, you aim to affect the physical world through ritualistic means. Okay, sex magic, hedonism, Kama Sutra. Okay, those are rituals. Sex is a ritual within itself. Now remember, when you go through that spiritual door, that you're gonna discover your nature. Okay, are you blessing or are you cursing? People using sex magic to hurt other people. Are you distorted or are you pure? You know, you went through that spiritual door without a solid foundation, because if you had a solid foundation, well, you wouldn't have went through the spiritual. Well, yeah, you would have went through the spiritual door, but at least you would have known, okay? As opposed to going through the spiritual door thinking one thing and now you're another, okay? Okay, when you first went through the spiritual, you thought you were a straight male. Well, now you went through the spiritual door without a solid foundation. Now you're bending it over and tooting it wide. Are you pure or are you distorted? Those are spiritual processes. That going through that spiritual door without the proper protection and the proper foundation, you will find yourself in. And in some of these cases, there is no turning back, because those who pulled you through that door gonna make sure that there is no turning back. They didn't want to see you do well in the first place, because anytime you're talking to people and they're saying, oh, if we do this to XYZ, we'll get $500,000. Really? And you gonna follow them? Enough said. What type of people are those? First of all, I would never believe that. Really, I'm gonna get money? Where's this money coming from? How am I gonna get paid? No, it's just too much. It's just too much for me. You know, you have to take people. I don't trust anybody, and I don't believe a damn thing anybody says unless I can find it, live it, see it, experience it for myself. Anything I talk about on this channel, I have experienced it for myself. Now, we've already said that everything we named, the Kama Sutra, the sex magic, or whatever, it aimed to affect the physical world through ritualistic means. And I already called some of them out. In hedonism, Kama Sutra, sex magic, word magic, those things, they are done to try to change someone's will, okay? So let's say a love spell. Let's say that someone put a love spell on another person. Okay, I'm gonna use me as an example. So let's say a guy approached me and I said, oh no, I don't deal with married men. Oh no, I don't deal with DL men. Oh no, I don't deal with men who date white women. No, I don't deal with men who wear green shorts. Oh no, I don't deal with men who hair long and mine. Whatever it was. And he felt rejected by that. Okay, so he go and whether he did it himself or he paid someone to do it, who knows? So he gets someone to do a love spell. To me, love spells are really something like binding spells. You're holding a person back from their destiny, from their true destiny. So you're doing a love spell so that person can just have sex with the person? Really? How shallow can you be? So all of a sudden now he gets to have sex with this woman and she don't even like him. Okay, she think he's a dunce, for whatever reason she denied him for being married, being gay, whatever, and all of a sudden you're having sex with this woman. I wouldn't even feel good about myself having to go through all that just to have sex with a man. Are you serious? Really? But that's what this is. And it's changing because, as I said, depending on what spirit you have partnered with, it's reversible. Okay? Now, that person walked through that spiritual door with malice, with spiritual rape on his mind. Okay, that's not peace, harmony. That doesn't have anything to do with being peaceful, harmonious, gratitude, and standing in truth. Okay, so the moment that choice had been made, he already exited, left. Okay? Now, I've already answered about which one is more powerful. I think that the spirituality, the right spirituality, people who are in peace, harmony, and gratitude, I think that is more permanent than any of those other things that I have mentioned here today. So I've already been on here too long. So I want to thank you all for your undivided attention. And like always, my name is Ashalyn Snow. Oh, and I put the email, the address in the description so that if you too want to send a message or a comment or whatever, you can send one. And I mean, if it's intellectually stimulating, then I'll answer. If not, then exit left, delete. And of course, if you want to donate to the channel, which most of you do, thank you so much for your donations. You can use Zelle at apearlyday@gmail.com with your question, and I'll be more than happy to answer. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. Why? Because I know I will. Bye.